Relive the countdown to the crown.
Miss America 2011 is Miss Nebraska.
Miss America 2011, Teresa Scanlon joins us live on today's 700 Club.
For me, it's been so calming to know that everything is in his control.
Well, welcome to the 700 Club. America's airstrikes in Libya have been deadly and accurate. Now many in Washington want to know how and when the military action will end.
And as Charlene Israel reports, those are questions coming from both sides of the political aisle.
The assault has included B-2 stealth bombers, jet fighters, more than 120 Tomahawk cruise missiles, and other high-tech weapons. Officials say the airstrikes have been very effective. Gaddafi's compound was hit along with numerous military sites, and the Pentagon believes his military is under significant stress.
Benghazi is not completely safe from attack, but it is certainly under less threat than it was yesterday. We believe his forces are under significant stress and suffering from both isolation and a good deal of confusion.
The Pentagon says the U.S. and allied fighters are now patrolling Libya, but some point out Saddam Hussein survived 12 years of a no-fly zone in Iraq, and officials are not sure how long this no-fly zone will last.
I wouldn't speculate in terms of length at this particular point in time.
We now have the capability to patrol the airspace over Libya, and we are doing just that, shifting to a more consistent and persistent air presence. The no-fly zone is effectively in place.
Politico.com reports some liberal Democrats wondered if the U.S. missile strikes were constitutional, and they were unhappy that the White House had not consulted Congress first. Republicans say the action may be too little too late.
I can't see exactly where the end game is, and I do think it is a troubling situation. We just hope for the best, and maybe this will be successful.
One defense analyst tells CBN News that the U.S. waited too long before taking action.
At the end of the day, though, I have to say that this has been a lack of leadership on the part of the U.S. The fact that we let it go this long was the part of this that was not prudent.
There are concerns that the Libyan leader could retaliate against the U.S.
He has killed people in the UK. He has killed people in France. Obviously, Lockerbie. He has the revenge motive in his mind. He's got a tribal instinct, and he will do it. If he has the chance to take revenge against the United States, he will do it. He's vengeful, vindictive, and he is a proven killer.
Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Robert Gates says the U.S. expects to relinquish control of the mission to coalition forces in a matter of days. Charlene Israel, CBN News.
Well, I join with those that say this should have happened weeks ago. When Defense Secretary Gates said in the press that we can't enforce a no-fly zone over Libya, he essentially gave license to Gaddafi to start opening fire on his own civilian population. He announced and said we're not going to step in there and do a no-fly zone. Well, right after he did that, Gaddafi launched his attack against the protesters. And then in the wake of the carnage, we did a complete 180 and said, well, now we can. I hope in this one that we do make it our goal to take him out of power and find a way to replace him, because you leave him in charge of Libya in the aftermath of all of this, revenge will be on his mind. So we need to have an end game here that includes a new government in Libya. The last thing we want is a wounded Libya and a wounded Gaddafi in charge and sending bombers around the world. That's not an end game any one of us want. Lee Webb has the rest of our top stories from the CBN Newsroom. Lee?
Gordon, the ongoing turmoil in the Middle East is keeping oil prices high, and that's having an impact on gas prices here in the U.S. In some parts of the country, it's topping $4 a gallon. And filling the cart at the grocery store is also more expensive. Food prices rose nearly 4% last month. That's the biggest leap in 36 years. Severe weather and crop shortages are the main factors behind that jump. Could America be experiencing a sexual counter-revolution? A new study indicates the number of young people who have decided to remain virgins rose from 22% to 28% in just 6 years. Another study indicates the most promiscuous people are the most depressed, while those who practice sexual restraint are the happiest. Paul Strand has more.
People are starting to get organized and fight back against a sex-saturated culture. Washington Area Ministries recently celebrated an Abstinence Awareness Week with a forum entitled Sex, What They Don't Tell You. Author Tara White was the featured speaker, sharing hard lessons she learned about promiscuity from her own sad experience.
I had been dropped, broken, mishandled, and misused in a relationship. And I had felt if I had only known then the things that I know now concerning sex, marriage, and relationships, that I would have made some different choices.
Such events are telling young people a world of abstinence outside of marriage will make them happier, safer, and more fulfilled, no matter what the secular culture preaches. In that culture, 1 out of 4 youth gets a sexually transmitted disease. In parts of Washington, 82% of births are to single mothers. Richard Urban helped organize this D.C. event and says stats show kids will listen if their parents preach an abstinence message.
When we see the statistics of youth who are, getting involved with sex or sexually transmitted disease or just heartbreak or pregnancy, I can't just sit around as a parent.
Author Gerard Henry took part in a Washington panel discussion on fighting promiscuity and the ills it brings.
The messaging in our culture is a pornographic message at the end of the day. So we have to be very intent on increasing this message about purity, about marriage, the value of marriage, the beauty of marriage. And again, I have to say it starts with mom and dad, husbands and wives first. And the child will want to emulate that.
Young people who abstain will find they're far from alone. New CDC stats show the number rising dramatically in the new century. Here in D.C., 42% of high schoolers have never had sex, and that's twice as many as 2 decades ago. Derek Cuffey is a proud 28-year-old virgin and says it doesn't cost him anything that really matters.
Sometimes you have to be prepared to maybe lose some people in your life, but if the people that you call your friends are really your friends, they will do nothing but help you and support you for what you stand for.
Henry says to succeed, you have to remember who you are in God and feed that.
You are a spiritual being, not just a sexual being.
He says constant worship and chasing God will feed that spiritual being.
I was not born a loser, I was born a chooser.
And because God gave us free will and choice, Harlem preacher Michael Faulkner insists
I can exercise that free will to abstain from my sexual lust.
Final startling stats. Girls experimenting with sex are 2 to 3 times more likely to be depressed than those who don't. And sexually active kids are more likely to drink, smoke, do drugs, get suspended, get arrested. Outside marriage, sex can hurt rather than enhance your life.
Without God's protection, sex can be destructive.
Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
The Japanese government now believes more than 18,000 people died in the earthquake and tsunami there. Meanwhile, workers had to evacuate the damaged nuclear power plant after gray smoke rose from one of the units. This after reports of progress in bringing the situation under control over the weekend. The nuclear crisis has made food safety an issue there. Tokyo residents are avoiding fish and vegetables because of reports of radiation contamination. The government is blaming Tokyo Electric, the operator of that troubled nuclear complex, for failing to make crucial inspections in the weeks before the disaster. 33 pieces of equipment were not inspected, including backup generators and pumps. The man in charge of dealing with Japan's nuclear crisis is Naoshi Sato. Missionaries tell CBN News that he's a member of Japan's tiny Christian community. Mr. Sato is the country's Vice Minister of Construction and Transportation, and he's been placed in charge of the response team at the endangered nuclear plant. He's leading the mission to cool those overheated reactors. Christians in Japan are asking the global church to pray for Minister Sato. They say he needs God's wisdom and strength as he tries to prevent a nuclear catastrophe. Gordon?
I certainly need to be joining in with prayer for him and for all they're calling them nuclear samurai, the workers who volunteered to stay and get exposed to dangerous levels of radiation in order to cool down these reactors. Of all the trouble spots in the world, I'd have to put this one number 1. If we have some kind of full meltdown, you're literally talking about contaminating the city of Tokyo. They've already discovered radioactive isotopes in the drinking water in the city. And what does that mean going forward? The estimate on the damage, $235 billion. And then how do you rebuild from that? And then on top of it, if there is a meltdown, and not just a partial meltdown, but a full meltdown, you're talking about an entire section of Japan that is unusable. That is of concern to all of us, and please be in prayer for this team. They're literally sacrificing their own lives in order to shut this down, and they need our support. Terry?
Well, up next, a class in Jihad 101.
I'm a Jew. The head of Hezbollah has said that he hopes that we will gather in Israel so he doesn't have to hunt us down globally. For it or against it?
For it.
See why colleges have become a recruiting hotbed for terrorists. That's next.
Coming up, glitz, glamour, and everything in between. Celebrate 90 years of the Miss America pageant.
Everything that I do today, I'm able to do better because of the preparation of being in this program.
Do you have money to burn? If not, you need to know that the paper dollars you're invested your life savings in are being consumed right now in a growing blaze of inflation and declining value. Economists know why the dollar is burning and at risk of crashing. It's because politicians and central bankers keep printing them. And this makes the dollars you've worked so hard for worth less and less. The politicians and bankers hated the gold standard because it forced them to be honest. That's why the US dollar keeps losing value and could soon crash. The good news is that you can create your own personal gold standard and keep your savings protected when the dollar crashes. Call or visit online now. Find out more about the best performing assets of the 21st century from the best company in the country, Swiss America.
Tomorrow,
my favorite has to be Red Bull.
they give you a boost and much more.
Headache, the nausea, fatigue.
What these labels don't reveal about energy drinks. Plus, he wrote country music's Song of the Year.
Won't take nothing but a memory.
Alan Shamblin on his 6 #1 hits and where he gets his inspiration.
So don't give up.
Tomorrow. The Muslim Student Association is one of the largest Islamic organizations in America. It has chapters on hundreds of college campuses. Its alumni include doctors, lawyers, engineers. But as Eric Stakelback reports, the MSA also includes leaders training young recruits for jihad.
Many Muslim and liberal groups complained about recent congressional hearings on homegrown Islamic radicalism. Yet American-born Muslims are behind a growing number of terror plots, a trend Attorney General Eric Holder has said keeps him up at night. Many of these homegrown jihadists once belonged to the Muslim Students Association, a group with thousands of members on college campuses throughout the U.S. and Canada. The MSA bills itself as a resource and support group, a place where Muslim students can network and help grow the association. Terrorism expert Patrick Poole, however, says his investigation of the MSA shows it's being used for another purpose.
The Muslim Student Association has been a virtual terror factory. Time after time after time again, we see these terrorists, and not just fringe members. I mean, these are MSA leaders, MSA presidents, MSA national presidents who've been implicated, charged, and convicted in terrorism plots.
The roll call includes Anwar al-Awlaki, the al-Qaeda cleric linked to terror plots from Fort Hood to Times Square and beyond. Awlaki, now a target for assassination by the U.S. government, was president of the MSA at Colorado State University in the mid-1990s. Then there is Rami Zamzam. Before his conviction in Pakistan last year for attempting to join the Taliban and kill American troops, Zamzam was president of the MSA's Washington, D.C. Council. Omar Hamami, a leader of the Al-Shabaab terrorist group in Somalia, is another MSA alum. He was once president of the group's chapter at the University of South Alabama. And the list goes on.
Abdurrahman Al-Amoudi, who was national president back in the 80s, was Al-Qaeda's top fundraiser in America and is currently serving a 23-year prison sentence.
The MSA has long been present on college campuses from coast to coast, places like George Washington University here in the nation's capital. So how does this supposedly mainstream organization get labeled by the NYPD as an incubator for Islamic radicalism? One former FBI special agent told us it can be traced back to the MSA's roots in the Muslim Brotherhood, a global jihadist movement that seeks to establish Islamic Sharia law in America and around the world.
The MSA serves as a recruitment tool to bring Muslims into the Brotherhood, which was its original purpose.
John Guandalo worked on several major terrorism cases for the FBI. He calls the MSA the focal point for the Muslim Brotherhood in America.
Their goal, both from their senior leaders, the presidents of MSAs around the country, national leadership, is to implement Islamic government here in the United States. And they say that.
Founded in 1963 at the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana, the MSA quickly spread to other campuses in the Midwest.
There were really three leaders, three Iraqi guys, Jamal Barzinji, Ahmed Tatanji, and Hisham al-Talib, who really set it up, who are known identified Muslim Brotherhood leaders. And from there, MSA became kind of the mothership of all the Muslim Brotherhood front groups.
In 2004, the FBI uncovered an internal Muslim Brotherhood document in which a leader identified the MSA as one of, quote, our organizations and the organizations of our friends. Part of the MSA's on-campus strategy is to aggressively confront pro-Israel speakers. The Muslim Students Union at the University at California, Irvine, an MSA affiliate, was suspended by the school after members repeatedly heckled Israel's ambassador to the U.S. during a speech last year. Another MSA member endorsed genocide against Jews during an exchange with conservative commentator David Horowitz.
I'm a Jew. The head of Hezbollah has said that he hopes that we will gather in Israel so he doesn't have to hunt us down globally. For it or against it?
For it.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and showing everybody what's here.
The MSA's national body did not respond to CBN's request for comment on this story, and the organization has not officially addressed the pattern of terrorism arrests involving its former members. Eric Stakelbeck, CBN News, Washington.
And yet another in a series of alarming reports from Eric Stakelbeck that you're not going to see elsewhere. And I hope you're waking up to the dangers that we face in the world today, because their target is not just wiping Israel off the map. Their target, as clearly expressed, is complete genocide. That there shouldn't be any Jews left on the planet. The head of the spiritual head of the Muslim Brotherhood stood up in a square in Cairo and called for the retaking of Jerusalem. On his television show, he called that it's okay to kill, to murder an Israeli woman who's pregnant because you're killing a future soldier. That's the kind of rhetoric coming out of the Muslim Brotherhood. And then on top of it, you see the facts that since Iraq was liberated, there's been more violence against Christians in the past year than in the previous 30. When you see the Coptic Church in Egypt raising alarms over what the Muslim Brotherhood is planning in the new elections, we need to wake up to this. We need to pay attention to it and understand what we face and pay attention to what they say. They're telling us very clearly what they intend to do. Terry?
Yeah, unbelievable. Well, up next, more than 10,000 women compete in the Miss America pageant each year, but only one gets to wear the crown. This year's winner, Teresa Scanlon, is here with us today, and she's going to bring it on with us. So log on now to our chat room at cbn.com.
Still ahead,
a boxing trainer in the fight of his life.
I was going to get some relief, and my answer to relief was a .45 caliber pistol.
When you look in the mirror, can you imagine erasing years of aging?
That's what I used to look like.
Lifestyle Lift takes only about an hour. See the difference immediately.
I'm Linda. I'm 70 years old. Can you believe it?
Call now for a free information kit. It's quick, affordable, and takes only about an hour. Lifestyle Lift, a breakthrough medical procedure that helps remove wrinkles, frown lines, and sagging skin. Call now for a free information kit. Consultations are free. Call Lifestyle Lift today.
In the next 60 seconds, we want you to qualify to be the next $50,000 home makeover winner. Pick up the phone and get ready to start dialing when the number appears on your screen. Call the number on your screen now and we'll mail you a key. If your key opens the lock in your local Direct Buy Club, you'll be the next $50,000 home makeover winner. Operators are standing by, so call right now. Direct Buy Club has already awarded over $1 million, and someone is going to win the $50,000 home makeover. Why not you? If the phone number is blinking, the phone lines are open. Call now to receive your key and an invitation to your local Direct Buy Club, where members can save thousands or more paying low direct from the source prices on big ticket items. Like kitchen cabinets, home furnishings, flooring, bathroom fixtures, and so much more. Call now and get your key to winning a $50,000 home makeover. Someone is going to win the $50,000 home makeover. Why not you?
To see this week's most viewed stories, go to CBN.com.
Well, she's been called an American institution and the female equivalent to the president. She's stood for civil rights and served as the inspiration for millions of girls across the country. This year, Miss America celebrated her 90th birthday. Take a look.
The gown, the crown, that famous runway and images of all American girls parading along the boardwalk. Throughout the years, we've seen it all. Big dresses, even bigger hair, fashion-forward opening numbers, and that unpredictable talent competition. There's so much more to the pageant than meets the eye. Winning the title of Miss America forever changes the life of a young woman. This was the case for our own Terry Meeuwsen, Miss America 1973.
Our new Miss America, Terry Ann Meeuwsen, Miss
Wisconsin. This year, the pageant celebrated its 90th anniversary, and over 40 former winners attended the festivities.
1973, Terry Meeuwsen.
Terry met up with friends to reminisce on their unique sisterhood.
It's been 21 years since I was crowned, and everything that I do today, I'm able to do better because of the preparation of being in this program.
I think the social activism, though, is the thing that tends to ebb and flow, and that's a particular interest to me because that became the whole reason why I participated, to speak out on diabetes.
Having to speak every day, having to know what's going on in the world, having to look at yourself in relationship to that, having to be responsible for opinions and thought, and all of that was a part of what went into preparing you for what you're doing today, and who knows what tomorrow.
A mother who has a child and find out this baby is dead, and she wonders if this baby will ever have a normal life. It opens so many doors to meet so many people who have challenges. So when they saw me winning the Miss America title, it gave them hope. And they hear my message about what God did in my life. And I shared my testimony, talk about my faith in Jesus.
So what is the core value of the pageant?
The scholarship. This program provides up to $45 million a year in scholarships to women, the largest scholarship foundation for women in the world.
At a glance, Miss America may seem like just another pretty face, but each contestant chooses a platform she's passionate about promoting. Miss Michigan has founded an anti-trafficking organization.
We work to bring awareness, we work to improve policy, and we work to fund shelters and rehabilitation services for victims of human trafficking.
Roughly 13,000 young women compete on the local and state level each year for one of 53 spots on the national stage. Over the years, winners have reflected the diversity among American women. During World War II, Bess Meyerson became the first Jewish title holder. 1984 brought Vanessa Williams as the first African-American winner. And in '95, Heather Whitestone, who was hearing impaired, was the first Miss America with a disability. The Miss America organization doesn't claim to take a Christian stance, yet each year it boasts several contestants who feel strongly about their faith in Jesus.
I was raised in the church. My grandmother was a no-nonsense woman, and so every night I'm praying and meditating and just making sure that I'm keeping myself centered and focused on what this really means.
I always wanted to be a missionary, but in doing this, I can honestly say this has been a mission field.
You see God's hand working, and you see the perfect timing, and you see His plan. And so for me, it's been so calming to know that everything is in His control.
Here's to you, Miss America, on turning 90. You don't look a day over 18.
Well, in its 90 years, the Miss America pageant has crowned winners from all walks of life, but there's never been a winner who has called Nebraska home until now. So please welcome to the 700 Club, former Miss Nebraska, now Miss America, Teresa Scanlon. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it was fun for me this year. I don't always go back, but it was the 90th, and so it was great to see you crowned. It was quite the week. You've said that you did not feel at first like you were ready to compete, but now you feel like it's exactly where you're supposed to be. Talk about that.
Right. Well, absolutely. I really do believe that it's those times when we feel least prepared and least ready is when God calls us and does amazing things. And for me, that just showed all the more what He can do and what is possible through Him. That it was certainly nothing I did and everything that He did. And that's why I'm here today. And even though I expected this to be a 5-year to 7-year process, it became a 6-month journey. And that was definitely in His timing and in His plan.
You've turned 18?
Yes, in February.
You turned 18 in February, so you're 17 when you won, and you said that your early teen years were rough for you, difficult for you.
Right, absolutely. I think everybody kind of goes through that during that time when peer pressure can certainly be at its worst, and it was tough throughout that time, and I really think that's why pageantry was placed in my life. When I was 13, I started competing, and it was really through that my faith grew in so many ways. And so I really do, now looking back, especially at this journey, I do believe that this was put in my life for a reason because it has made my faith so much stronger.
Yeah. You heard one of the girls in the video piece that we just watched talk about the fact that she felt like coming to this whole competition was a bit of a mission field for her. How so for you when you were walking through that whole thing?
Well, it was refreshing to see that the majority of the contestants there at the competition were believers, but there were also some that weren't. And so for us, that was a mission field because we could be examples. If nothing else, not even having to speak outright, we were there for 10 days and we were able to show them what it was all about, show them why we had peace and a comfort and why we felt so at peace about all of that because we knew that there was a plan and a purpose. And just being that example is huge.
Teresa, why do you think there are so many Christian girls in this program?
Well, the whole idea of the competition is knowing who you are, what you believe in, what you stand for, all of that, being very defined and a confident woman. And that's what God gives us. You don't have to try to figure out who you are. You read the Bible and it's laid out right there for you, and you understand right there who you are, why you're here, what you're made for, what your purpose is. And when you see a woman who has that purpose and that confidence in knowing who she is and who made her, then that stands out from the rest. It really does make a huge difference.
You know, one of the things that happens for a young woman when she wins this competition today is that you're very involved with Children's Hospital and with the military, and those are apart from your own personal platform. Has that had an impact on you?
Oh, absolutely. Those have been some of the most life-changing experiences, and it's just been starting. We have the whole rest of the year to continue those things, and it's been incredible to be able to go to those children's hospitals and those military hospitals, and suddenly everything is put in perspective, and you understand what life is about. You remember that these little things we worry about don't matter as much as we think they do, and remember what people are sacrificing for you and what children and families are going through, no choice
their own.
It does
put everything else in perspective,
really does.
doesn't it? Talk a little bit about what your platform is. I don't know if everybody that's watching knows, but every girl who competes in the Miss America pageant has a platform of her choice that she chooses to both be knowledgeable about, inform other people about, and then have an impact on after she wins. Tell us about yours.
Well, I chose to focus on eating disorders awareness, but that extends so much further beyond eating disorders or just the food issue. But it really goes to self-confidence and body image in general, especially among young people. And actually, the wristband that I wear says, accept yourself, accept others. And it's from ANAD, which is an organization that works with eating disorders. And the reason that I chose to use this as a tool is because it really does explain the attitude that everybody should have. That sometimes we can look down on differences, and just because someone doesn't look the way we think they should, we look down on them for that. And it's important just to realize that everybody is made differently and everybody is unique and special in their own way. And especially with young people and teenagers, it can get so rough to understand that. And bullying is, it's getting tougher and tougher. And that's why eating disorders numbers are just climbing as girls try to hurt themselves to be successful or to
be accepted
perfect
by somebody else. Yes.
They think that that's going to change everything, that they're going to be more popular, more beautiful for being smaller. And just those numbers, they put so much, and their worth is really focused on what they look like. And so it's been important to me to try to spread the message and be an example that those things don't matter.
Well, you're in a perfect role to do that. We've got some questions that have come into our chat room for Teresa, so we want to do a special edition of Bring It On right now. Haley asks, have you watched Toddlers and Tiaras, and what advice would you give to young girls who want to compete in beauty pageants?
I have seen the show a few times, and honestly, I would never have been able to do something like that when I was younger.
Would you do that with your daughter?
It would certainly be up to her. I mean, it depends on the girl, and that's why I started when I was a teenager, and it was my decision. My parents have 7 children, and so they didn't always have time to baby each one of us. So when I decided I wanted to compete in pageants, my parents said, great, you know, we're here for resources, whatever you need, but it's up to you. I had to do my resume, my transcripts, everything. I had to take care of paperwork. I had to prepare. I had to go shopping for my gowns, practice my talent. All of that was up to me. And I think that's really important. It's part of the whole experience is to take that responsibility for yourself.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that show. I think you should be old enough to know who you are before you do that.
Absolutely.
Well, Ruby asks, how competitive does it get behind the scenes? We all get this question.
Exactly.
Do all the contestants really get along? Go for it.
They do, and I was surprised by that as well because I didn't know what to expect, but honestly, I could not believe how supportive everyone was. And with being one of the younger contestants, it was like I was a little sister, and everybody was just so encouraging and so helpful. And backstage, we shared makeup, we helped each other with their hair, we did whatever it took to help each other.
It
and
really
that's what
is
it's
kind
all
of a level playing field by the time you get to the Miss America pageant.
Yeah, it's a huge sisterhood too. While we're there, we have a great time together. And now I'm glad to say I have 52 new friends.
You know, for a lot of people, being 17 when you won, people kind of went, oh my gosh, 17, that's a huge responsibility. I know you grew up homeschooled predominantly. Did that have an impact, do you think, on giving you the ability to think independently and maybe removing some peer pressure at a time in your life where you were trying to figure out who you were?
Oh, absolutely. Looking back now, I think that was absolutely crucial in growing up. It was really important to learning about myself and the flexibility of it. I was able to do things at my own pace, which came in handy because I graduated high school a year early. And if I hadn't have done that, I truly would not be here today because I wouldn't have even been eligible this year.
Well, it also helped you shine as an independent young woman at the Miss America pageant amongst lots of competitors. What do you want to do when this is all over?
Well, next year I'll be headed to Patrick Henry College and major in government, and then I'd like to go to Harvard for law school. I plan on becoming a criminal prosecution attorney, and I'd like to become a federal judge. And in the future, I hope to become involved in politics. So there's still many goals and aspirations ahead, but hopefully it will all be uphill from here because this is really a great springboard and a stepping stone towards the future.
Well, could you hurry that process along? We need some good politicians. It's been great to have you with us today. I just want to tell folks that if you'd like more information on the Miss America pageant, largest scholarship foundation for young women in the world, log on to cbn.com. And while you're there, check out Teresa's web-only interview conducted by a former Miss Connecticut. You can watch that by logging on to cbn.com and clicking the In the Green Room link. It's been great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me
in person. God bless you. Have a wonderful year. We'll be cheering you on.
Thank you.
We're going to be back. Still ahead. Step into the ring with the manager of the United States Olympic boxing team and hear about the opponent who nearly knocked him down for the count. We'll be back.
If you're one of the millions of Americans without dental insurance, ask yourself these 3 important questions. 1, does your company not offer dental insurance? 2, are you self-employed? 3, are you retired? If you answered yes to any of these, it's important that you call Encore Dental today. Encore Dental is real insurance, and your acceptance is guaranteed. You'll receive up to 100% coverage for preventive care and up to 50% on basic and major procedures. Encore Dental can help keep your teeth healthy, which may prevent infections that lead to heart disease and stroke. And with the high cost of procedures, it makes sense to have great coverage. Choose your level of benefits. There are no claim forms to fill out and no waiting for reimbursement. So go ahead, review it for 30 days.
Call 1-800-671-6148. Call now and save an additional 10%.
Call now and save an additional 10%.
Welcome back to the 700 Club. The New Hampshire State Supreme Court says a mother must stop homeschooling her 11-year-old daughter, and it orders her to send her to public school instead. The ruling came at a custody battle between the girl's parents. The father sued, saying his ex-wife's Christian teachings in their homeschool curriculum were bad for their daughter. The mother and religious freedom groups, though, say the courts are violating her parental and religious rights, but the state Supreme Court said the girl needs to be exposed to other viewpoints. The 700 Club Costa Rica has a new co-host. Sylvia Zuniga joins the show's current host, Esteban Castro. Sylvia brings experience in psychology to the program. The 700 Club Costa Rica airs live once a week on the country's 4th largest network. Viewers can call in or send text messages to interact with the host live on the air. The program has been on the air for 6 months. And you can find out more about CBN World Reach by logging on to its website at cbn.com/worldreach. Gordon and Terry will be back right after this. Please stay with us.
Got a question? Send us yours now on cbn.com. We'll bring it online with your questions from our live chat room on today's 700 Club.
Do you take fish oil? There's an omega-3 supplement that's better than regular fish oil.
Staying healthy, it's not easy. I exercise regularly and eat lots of fruits and vegetables. I used to take a fish oil supplement too, but then I discovered something better than regular fish oil.
Arctic Wonder Omega-3 Krill Oil. It's from the makers of One A Day, so I know I can trust it. The omega-3s in Arctic Wonder both support heart health and are scientifically proven to be better absorbed than regular fish oil. You'd have to take 6 of these fish oil soft gels to get the strength of just 2 Arctic Wonder soft gels.
The Arctic Wonder does not have an aftertaste.
They go down real easy. Arctic Wonder isn't just good for your heart. It also supports healthy brain function and a healthy immune system.
This is one of the products that I plan to take for the rest of my life.
Arctic Wonder is from One A Day and not available in stores. For a special trial offer, call or go online now. Call 1-800-409-7339. That's 1-800-409-7339. Or go online to tryarcticwonder.com now.
Well, as a boxing trainer, Joe Smith used to getting fighters ready for the main event. While most boxers head into the ring with just their gloves and grit, Joe makes sure his fighters are equipped with something else.
Here's a guy that never boxed in his life is all of a sudden representing his country on the biggest amateur sports stage in the world.
Joe Smith was the team manager for the 2008 U.S. Olympic boxing team.
I'll never forget walking through that opening ceremony that day.
It's hard to believe this spirited coach almost ended his life years ago.
I was going to get some relief, and my answer to relief was a .45 caliber pistol.
He gave his life to Christ as a young boy, but walked away when he went to college.
As happens with a lot of college kids, I began to experiment a little bit with drinking and going to parties, and the alcohol was kind of made me feel 10 foot tall and bulletproof, and I could do anything I wanted to do. So it escalated from maybe once or twice a week to 3 or 4 times a week to every day.
The alcohol took over, and Joe eventually dropped out of college and took a job in sales. Years later, he married and had children, but his addiction only grew worse.
I was a miserable, miserable man. I couldn't provide for my family anymore because physically I wasn't able to work. I was drunk and high all the time, so I couldn't hold a job. I didn't just drink and use because I wanted to, because I wanted to party. I drank and used because I had to survive.
Joe had no money and a home in foreclosure. His family was ready to leave.
My wife knew that she had to protect and take care of those children, and she was ready to go. And I felt hopeless. I didn't see any way out. I couldn't get high. I couldn't get drunk anymore. It didn't work. But at the same time, I couldn't get sober either. I wrote my wife a note, and I was apologetic in that note, and told her that I was going to take my life.
He got in his truck and headed to the place where he planned to kill himself. Along the way, he ran out of gas.
I slammed the door and I kicked in the side of that truck, and I had messed up everything in my life. Now I'm trying to take my life, and I can't even do that right.
He was walking to a nearby gas station when someone stopped to help.
He says, well, get in, I'll take you to get some gas. And he just sensed that something wasn't right, and he asked me, are you okay? I'm just fine, you okay? And that was kind of our conversation, and he told me, he says, I just feel like that you're hurting, that something's not right. And I told him, well, you're mighty nosy, but let me tell you what's going on. And I just poured my heart out to that guy. I don't know why.
The man helped Joe get into a rehabilitation program where he rededicated his life to Christ and sought forgiveness from his wife.
It gave me so much time to look at the wreckage that I had caused and taking ownership of that. She would articulate that she forgave me, but it took a long time. And I just repented and said, God, I don't want to live like this anymore. And he said, okay, we're going to help you not to live like that anymore.
Today, Joe's the father of 2 children, and he and his wife have adopted 17 foster children.
The reason today that I'm able to do what I do and not returning to that old lifestyle is just the undergirding sense of confidence that God will never leave me and He'll never forsake me, and He's promised that He will equip me with His entire armor to be able to live for Him.
Now Joe's goal is to pass on that confidence to kids inside the boxing ring.
I learned that I can reach a lot of young people, street tough, inner city kids, through the sport of boxing that I could never get to in any other way. We want to obviously teach them that boxing can get you off the street and can help you behaviorally, but what's going to save you eternally is that personal relationship with Jesus Christ.
Along with Joe's success came an invitation to be the team manager for the 2008 U.S. Olympic boxing team in Beijing.
Had 11 athletes from all across America, most of them tough, inner city, tough kids. I had opportunities to share with every single one of them. 7 of them prayed with me to receive Christ as Savior, no matter what kind of mistakes that I've made or what has been the degradation of my thoughts or my sin, that I can come to the foot of the cross and instantly be forgiven. It doesn't matter, what's going on in your life. They can be fixed with that personal relationship with Jesus Christ.
Let me just underline what Joe just said. No matter what is going on in your life, there isn't anything that can't be fixed through a relationship with Jesus Christ. Let me ask you the same question that guy who picked up Joe on the side of the road. Same question he asked. Are you okay? When you look at your life, are you okay? Because if you're not, if you can really get truthful and say, are you or are you not? If you're not, the way out is that relationship with Jesus. And He'll make the same promise to you that He made to Joe. He'll never leave you. He'll never forsake you. He wants to take you from where you are and make you like Him. Now, that sounds wonderful. and it is. He can take you from the brink of suicide and restore your family, restore your life, restore your dignity, get you back on the road. You know, just listen to the words of Jesus, how often he reached out to people in need. Whether it's the woman at the well who had 5 husbands, or Saul who has been persecuting Christians, he offered them something. He offered them a hope and a future. And he also offered them something else, his unconditional love. His love that's able to break through anything, break off any hold over you, any addiction on you, any resentment you have. He can make you new again. And it's that love that does it. And the same thing that happened to Joe can happen to you. And all you have to do is ask for it. Jesus will come. He'll be with you. What he's done for others, he'll do for you. He'll speak to you. He'll comfort you. And he'll change you from the inside and make you new again. Now, if you want this, all you have to do is pray a very simple prayer. If you're wondering, is Jesus real? Is all of this real? Can this happen? You can even pray that. Jesus, if you're there, can you show me? Can you be my Messiah? Can you be my Savior? Can you do that for me? And if you pray that with all your heart, he'll answer. He'll come in. So if you're not okay and you want to get back on track, all you have to do is bow your head, pray a very simple prayer, and what Jesus has done for others, he'll do for you if you just ask. If this is for you right now, don't change. Don't turn away. Let today be the day that you find him, that you stop seeking and you find. Pray with me. Lord Jesus. That's right, say it out loud. Jesus. I come to you and I open my heart to you. And I ask that you come in, that you make me new again, that you give me back my life, Lord. And Jesus, if you'll do this for me, I promise to follow you all the days of my life. Hear my prayer. Forgive my sins. Make me new. For I ask it all in Jesus' name. Father, for those who just prayed, I pray a baptism in your love. I ask that your presence would just be with them, all around them, and in them now, in Jesus' name. Let them know that their prayer has been heard and has been answered today. For I ask it all in the name above all names, Jesus. If you just prayed with me, the Bible says that if you'll believe in your heart and then confess with your mouth, you shall be saved. And all I want you to do is do that part of confessing with your mouth. You prayed, you've asked Jesus in, and now take the next step and let somebody know. It's a toll-free number, 1-800-759-0700. When you call, I've got something I want you to have. It's a packet. It's called A New Day. And there's a CD teaching how to live the Christian life. There's also a booklet with Bible verses. I encourage you to get a copy of the Bible. Start reading it every day. Start with the Gospel of John. I also encourage you to join a local church. Go through water baptism. Make that phone call. Do it right now. 1-800-759-0700. Terry, over to you.
Still ahead, round 2 of Bring It On. We're going to be back to answer your questions from our chat room, so don't go away.
I had chased the record deal for years with no results. And then I let it go and I turned it over to him, and then there it is. I want people to know that you can't be bad enough for God to not love you or forgive you or to give you a second chance. He doesn't give you the right to judge you, so stop there and learn to love you the way he loves you. And then you can enjoy life more than you've ever enjoyed it before.
I was in a lot of pain. I remember feeling, I don't want to have cancer. Why is this happening?
I went to pray with my 10-year-old. He said that he wished he had 2 hearts because one of them was breaking.
I had to reassure her a lot that I'm going to be okay. Things are going to be all right. You know, God's on our side.
This is one thing that Cancer Treatment Center does for people. They give them the courage and the strength to battle cancer.
When you first walk in that building, you almost feel like there's the presence of the Holy Spirit.
It is about the patient. It is only about the patient and what is it that they need and what do they want.
Call now and we'll send you this free DVD that shows you how our very special team of experts and caregivers put you at the center of everything we do. Hope is alive at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
I don't really see how anyone can get through a life-threatening disease without the Lord in their life. He gives us the strength that we need to carry on.
Well, when the recession hit, Carrie DiCarlo wasn't prepared. She went from earning more than $80,000 a year to needing food stamps in just 1 month.
Carrie DiCarlo is a single mom with 2 kids. A few years ago, she thought she had her life under control because she made $85,000 per year in the construction industry.
I lost my job, and I was absolutely destitute.
Her savings ran out in less than a month, and she wound up on food stamps.
When you go through that kind of period, you don't know where anything's coming from, you don't know what's next. It creates this wound inside of you.
Carrie prayed for God's help. Then she joined a single moms group at her church. The church gives single moms and others in the community food and household necessities donated by Operation Blessing.
All the groceries and all the diapers and all the donations that came out of Operation Blessing, I was so blessed by that. Gosh, I was so blessed by that. So I really had to learn to budget my money, but I was always faithful, always paid tithes even on my food stamps.
While she continued to look for a job, Carrie also started volunteering at the church's downtown Dream Center. She helped with the cafe and other outreaches supported by Operation Blessing.
And I began to pray about what it was that God wanted me to do.
She was hired to run a church program for former inmates. One of the main things she does is teach people how to manage their finances on a shoestring budget. Many of the people she works with get the same help she received from Operation Blessing and the Dream Center.
I thought, thank you, God, that you've answered this prayer. It is so amazing when God is faithful to you, when you pray for something, and God is just so faithful to you. It's amazing. It's amazing.
God's plan is always better than our own. I love the story of how he redirected Carrie's life, and you were a part of that. At her moment of need, you were there for her. And we always like to say, we're not here to give people a hand out, but we love to give people a hand up, because sometimes you're in a place where you just need a friend to come alongside of you and give you a little boost. That's what you did, and you're doing it every day around the world to people in all kinds of situations, providing food and clothing for orphans. You're reaching out to people who are just in depressed economic conditions with the opportunity for micro-enterprise loans and business startups. And we just say thank you for caring about other people. One of the ways you can do that is by joining the 700 Club. It's 65 cents a day. That's $20 a month. And when you do, you become a part of a great group of people who are saying, we want to touch the world with the love of Jesus Christ. We want to be the group that makes a difference. Join with us, won't you? You can do that by calling that toll-free number. It's 1-800-759-0700. When you call and say, I want to join the 700 Club, would you consider doing it using Pledge Express? That's electronic monthly giving. It means your bank does all the work. It's wonderful. No hassle. You don't have to remember anything. No stamps, no envelopes, no remembering to mail. They do it all, but it saves us a lot of administrative costs. And our way of saying thank you to you is by sending you Powerful Life teachings each month. These are teachings that we receive here at CBN, and we believe they'll be a blessing to you. So call right now. Say, I want to join the 700 Club, and I want to do it using Pledge Express. And thank you in advance for caring about others. Gordon?
All right, it's time to bring it online. We've gotten some chat questions in. Here's one from Katie. Terry, I had no idea you were Miss America. What was it like? And How did you get started hosting the 700 Club?
Well, let me just say that being Miss America was the hardest job I've ever had.
Really?
Yes, really. Up at the crack of dawn, and sometimes 2-3 cities a day, and everybody wanting you to be fresh and
So
right for their
we should
event.
pour it on now.
That would be no, Gordon. I'm worn out now.
More trips for Orphans Promise. We're gonna.
Yes, well yeah.
See,
yeah.
okay.
That works. And how did I get started here? Well, just as we were watching Carrie's story about how God redirected her life, he redirected mine. I had no intention of doing what I do today, but God, through a series of circumstances, brought me into television. And then through just a random phone call, I discovered that CBN was looking for someone to host down here at a time when my show in Milwaukee ended, and here I am.
I find it hard to believe it was a random phone call.
Well, it was a random, godly phone call. Okay.
I don't think it was random. I think there was a lot of purpose in that phone call.
For me, there was, yes. Well,
For
here's
us,
a
too.
question from MLC. Thanks, Gordon. She says, I want to have a family, but I'm single and not getting any younger. I'm considering alternative methods. Is it wrong for a single woman to get in vitro fertilization?
I actually know some people that have done this, and I don't think it's wrong. Is it ideal for there to be a father and a mother? Yes. And children do seem to respond more to that. But at the same time, if your heart's desire is to have a child, I think it's fine for you to use the technology that's available to us today to make that dream happen. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I think it's fine, too. I mean, I don't think that's a wrong or right thing. The one thing I do think you have to consider is what it means to raise a child alone. There's a reason that God puts children in families, and I would just say to you, be sure you have within your own family brothers, a father, men who can come alongside of you and be supportive and encouraging and there for you and your child. In your church, sometimes there are people who will do that for single moms as well. And that you just have a word from the Lord that you should proceed that way. When the going gets tough, and it does get tough with anybody who's raising children, I speak from...
You usually have no idea what you're getting into when you become a parent.
A partner in that is a strong support, and it's like two are stronger than one, and then with the Lord, of course, you've got a threesome. And so, I don't know, I just would be careful about it.
Yeah, and if you have any doubts about it, go to one of the single mom support networks and just talk to some single mothers and the process, what's involved in what happens over time. Raising children is hard work, and any parent will tell you that.
Yep, that's
and
for
if you're
sure.
primarily responsible for them, then it all falls on you. And as Jesus warned about just building a building, count the cost before you begin construction so that you can finish.
Doesn't mean you shouldn't build it, just know what you're getting into.
Well, they're playing the music, and I'm going to give a purposeful phone call to Terry later to let her know how much we appreciate her. Well, for all of us...
Sit at my desk till I get that.
We leave you with these words from Philippians 4. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, and let me underline, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. For all of us here, God bless you. We'll see you again.